Hi, Judy. I know, right? It's been a minute. Thank you so much for hopping over here. Hey, hi, Annie Bear. How you doing, woman? Whew, we got a big blow coming in today. Hopefully, we'll be getting some rain in the Pacific Northwest, which is where I'm at. So most of my morning has been spent remembering where the weather patterns are going to hit and then weatherizing. Hello, Utica. How you doing, honey? But yes, tons of securing everything. Annie Bear, how you doing up there? Oh, okay, sure. Oh, okay. Sure, sure. Hi, Melon. Hypnicity, just give me a second here and I will dip into that. Okay. Let me see if I can get a hold of Rascal. Oh, she is such a love. I really do love your turtle. Hmm. Cold, tired, still happy. She says, if I must, not her plan. She's feeling tired, but she doesn't feel like exhaustion tired. God, she's such a sweet dog. Ethnicity, I have to say, she doesn't feel like she's at the end of her tether yet. She doesn't quite feel there, but she keeps saying not yet. Now, what I will caveat that with is if physically you're seeing trouble for her, go ahead and ease her over. She will not hold that against you, but she's currently saying not yet. Okay, you're welcome. I'm not. Yeah, they're calling it a hurricane. It's pretty funny. I'm only laughing because I've lived on the Oregon coast a lot of my life, and so what we have coming in, they really yip it up and everything. And that's not to say that we can't have something that deepens and gets more potent. The glass is falling, which means that the barometer we're headed into a low pressure system, and of course we'll have a hurricane capacity hitting the western coast over here. But in the Pacific Northwest, we simply call them winter storms. They're not really. I mean, obviously, if you were like over in the Philippines, I think they call them typhoons. Other places call them cyclones. Obviously, we have the weather ratings um, that will be high enough wind capacity. Usually, and that's just it because I tend to live right on the Oregon coast. And so in our winter storms that come in, we normally sustain on the Oregon coast, we will sustain winds for the storms that come in, and they'll be 90 miles an hour will be normal. And then the wind gusts go well over 100. The real problem comes whenever people move in here and then they don't know where um, the water may come up over the road in places where it's always traditionally been flooding, because a lot of times people will only see us in the summertime. And so, like for example, my farm, I have 26 acres, but we go underwater because we're the overflow for the river whenever we have our tides come in and we have the rain and everything. So our fields actually will go underwater. We literally have like a river run fluid in behind our field. And the first few times it's really scary because I didn't know where the water flow was going to go. And that's just it. Yeah, everybody's like, oh my God, you've got 26 acres. It's a luxury. You should have way more horses. And I'm like, you don't understand, because between September and potentially May, any of the horses that I have to come in and then scrunch in on 3 acres of land. So it's a little scary. Oh yeah, hypnicity. Oh, Carver. That's just it. I'm seeing this thing come streaming in, and a lot of times with the pineapples, it just depends on where it's going to land at. Yeah. So, and that's just it. That's why I was running around this morning, prepping everything because I wanted to make sure that everything that could fly away. That's the other thing is a lot of people don't really know the wind speeds, and so they're like, oh, there's no way that's gonna move. Like, that thing's gonna launch like a kite, and then it becomes a missile. I'm gonna scroll back up here for just a second here. Yeah, Utica is over in India. Oh, a little womb healing. I wasn't planning to do the meridians, but Utica, let me go ahead and tap into that, and we'll just. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. So anybody that has any heaviness in their sacral chakra or their root chakra, this is oftentimes tied to survival mechanisms and creativity. A lot of times these energies will get trapped in our lower chakras. These are energy centers in the body. In Lemuria, that's actually called the Kaha system. So the lower chakras, your root chakra is actually called Taro. Sacral chakra, where the womb would be, is Toi. Combined, these two are Muki, our lower chakras. We're going to bring that up through Tawahi, which is your solar plexus. Matako. Up into the heart space. Tako. So we're just bringing that energy straight up the midline. Because sometimes what happens is it gets stagnant and it pools and it just locks in space. One of the things I'm hearing, Utica, is breathe in, take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Pause for a count of 3. And then let it out for a count of 3. The other thing that I'm hearing too is if you need, you can also just rest your hand here. Where your two collarbones meet, there'll be like this little indentation in between that. So you can actually rest just one of your fingertips. You don't have to press it hard, just rest your fingertip there. And then that will also encourage your energy flow to come up and out. Yeah, Rosie. Rosie says, I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. That is old hat. You should have seen the geese this morning. Oh, and I'd completely forgotten about it. I have some baby stellar blue jays that are hanging around. And the older birds, they know what to do. And so my two younger ones, they were clueless, and I had forgotten they'd never seen a winter storm. So they were actually watching the older birds and kind of wondering, oh, beautiful. I'm so glad. Yeah, I love the bubble technique. Because that puts everything, it's just you and source spirit. Ooh, beautiful. Watercolor techniques. See, I'd just be making a mess personally. I'm so not a watercolor person. I'm an acrylic. If I do anything with the paints, I really love the acrylics. But yeah, I really respect those people that can do the watercolors. Oh, how cool. I've seen a straw house before. Beautiful. Utica, if you did any yawning whenever I just did that for the meridian moving, if you did any yawning or sneezing or coughing, crying can sometimes happen too, or burping, hiccups, any of those, get a drink of water because that actually was a meridian release that I just did. Hoping to stay, might have to watch the replay. Well, the nice thing about that, Lisa, is that the energies, if we do any energy healing or anything on here, it's always timeless. And I've got quite a few people that come back and re-listen to these because there's a lot going on. Sorry. I actually did move some energy for somebody, so. I like the acrylic simply because I tend to be impatient. So, I started with oil painting, But it's I don't have the patience for oil painting because you can only paint just a little bit and then you've got to wait for the paint to dry. At least with acrylics, I mean, I hit my stride. And watercolor, and I probably would get along better if I actually had been taught how to do it, because with the watercolor, I don't like the fact that if I put my watercolor on the paper, it doesn't stay exactly where I put it, which sounds silly. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to the painting. But yeah. Oh, that's fine, Utica. That's okay. And yeah, you can certainly do the right frequencies. Yeah, layers. That's just it. Oil painters, I really respect those because they have got a lot more patience. And it depends because to use Western astrology, I find people that are in the earth signs. So those that would be born traditionally in Capricorn, end of December going through January, those that are born traditionally in May times, for Taurus, or those that are Virgos, those tend to lean more towards the oil paint because they tend to be much slower moving. And then the watercolors and the acrylics would be more for like um, your faster moving, like the air signs. Yeah, learning to flow. That's just it. I've got a sixth cousin, and he does the watercolor, and it shocks me because the detail that he can do with watercolor just floors me. It really does. I really have deep admiration. I used to do the rock painting back in the 90s, and that was done with acrylic rock paint, and I loved that. That was a lot of fun. Mm. Going with the flow. Oh, speaking of, let's go ahead and do some coding here right quick. Let's do some Lemurian light codes right quick. We'll see what the dolphins have to say. Yeah, the less is more theory with the watercolor. Yeah, it's just that you have to be a little more loose and free and be more abstract, I think, with it. But it's incredible. Okay, here we go. Tie, ori, ora, mahaka wa tahi, it ingwa, tito irita o otuama, wayuta puk, it ingwa, tafanui, trarani tau, wayuta puk, it ingwa, tafaya tama tua tama, wayuta puk, tie, ori, ora. Okay, I'm hearing to go into the whole set, so we're gonna go. O u I un ui o tana nu ma il ai hakata toropa potahi tuma kaki ma kaki ka naro hawa tu taki ma taki ka tai tu tehu u. Yay. Yay. Okay, now it feels better. Yeah, I'm not hearing to go any further with anything else. So that's what we're going to go with today. So, how is your transformation monks doing? Where do I live? And do I have a horse? Yes, and yes. Malin, I live on the Oregon coast. And yes, technically she's a pony, but yes, I do. I used to have 5 horses, but then I downsized. Actually, technically, about 10 years ago, I had 14. Yeah, I had 14. And then I've been downsizing ever since. So now I've got down to my original girl, and she's been with me for 19 years. So I think the main thing with painting isn't so much what the end result looks like, it is the practice of actually just doing the painting as part of it. And the reason why is because when you do the painting, it accesses the right side of the brain. So that's sometimes you've heard me whenever I'm doing my energy healing, it accesses the right side of my brain. So I actually lose a lot of times. I'll lose my speech center. I kind of struggle whenever I'm doing my energy healing, especially if I'm going deep. I will have trouble with that. Um, but yeah, what it does is the painting part actually allows your right side or your right hemisphere of your brain to expand and to be used and to be triggered. Oh, can you feel my horse? Malin, how beautiful. You got a horse, huh? Cool. What's your horse's name? See if I can reach out for it. I was working on a horse this morning, actually. Sing, sing, sing. Oh, that's beautiful. I sing song to help me process, and it lets me know how well I am at 5D. That's wonderful. It does make sense, actually. Oh, beautiful. Ethnicity's playing with neurographic art. Does that mean that you get to play with it with your brain? Energy. We actually are going to be moving into more of Tatama, which is the child energy. Now, if you're processing through the parent energy, um, Gaia is actually Matea. So that's probably an echo that you're picking up. And sometimes we can do that. It's a lot like, okay, whenever you're dialing through like the old timey radios and you've got the knob and you're going from one radio station to another, you'll tune into different, you'll hear different radio stations as you're going. Sometimes whenever you're open and you're doing your meditations, you'll pick up bands of that, but that can be very old energy that you're picking up, that it's not actually being emitted right now. Right now, planet Matea is very vibrant. The energy coming off of her is very young, and it's she's soaked up the photon energy from the central sun, and so she's actually doing that effervescence, kind of like when you see a rosebud that's just opening or a flower bud that's just opening, or you see a little toddler that's doing that bubbly energy. That's the energy that we're in right now. Yeah, and that's just it. I was shown last week, thankfully, with the echoes. That was just it. They were showing me, and it really, I'm glad that they brought forward the analogy of that, because as soon as they said it's an echo, it made such perfect sense for me, because so many of us, we try to do our shadow work, we try to address our shadow side, we try to integrate in everything, and it was shown to me that you are the person that's put the shout out there. So what you were trying to fix is just an echo. But that's also why the Ho'oponopono thing works too, is because the universe, we're seeing those echoes. That's kind of like just seeing reflections in a mirror. Would be another way of thinking of it. And so when there was one man that did the Ho'oponopono in Hawaii. He did it at a mental health institute, and he never interacted with the patients. He would stay in his office. He ran Ho'oponopono constantly, because what he saw reflected outside himself in the mental patients was what he was treating in his own self with the Ho'oponopono. And so it took him 2 months. But the amazing thing with that was when he came out, one of the gentlemen that had been there, he said that was just it. Everybody got well, and they did not backslide from that. Yes, exactly, Annie Bear. So with the echoes right now, with the shadow work and everything that you're seeing, you're actually feeling your history. Some of the stuff is literally you've been told stories. So we hold those stories in our vibrational field. And so is it's put out there and we see that. It's like, but it's real. Actually, it's an echo. It's only real because we put it there, because we believed in it. Very tricky. As well you should. Yes, Mother Nature is pretty potent and pretty neutral. I've had so many people too that they're like, I can't believe that. I've shared it before. We have storm surges right now, king tides and everything, and you should never, ever, ever turn your back on the ocean. But there's people that just simply won't listen to, you know, the locals, and we just let Mother Nature sort it, because it's like, nah, she'll train them up a lot faster than we can. I have to say, there's a lot of them that get knocked down, and you really don't let your little ones near that in the wintertime, because nature will put the snatch on dogs and kids like you would not believe. People too. Sometimes the adults get knocked flat and yanked out too. It's better in the wintertime. If you come to look at the Oregon coast, it's better if you can actually pull off on one of our outlooks over the cliff sides. It's way safer. And besides that, you get to see it better. I got to be honest, if you're down at beach level, we usually have, golly, depending on the storms that we have, it's going to be anywhere from a 10-foot to a 20 and sometimes even 30-foot waves coming in. And when you're on the beach, you can't really quite grasp that. But if you're up on the cliffside, you'll be able to see it a lot better. Yeah, like Sandra Dell's saying, we get to do this collectively. Yes. Yeah. You little frogs are singing. That's fun. That's funny. Well, you know, and what's fun with this, the grandmother energy, the great grandmother, that speaks to the whale energy that's been coming back in. The whales, especially the grandmother whales, they are such wisdom keepers. And yeah, they're gliding back in. They will be more present whenever we go into Sirius A, and that is Kahu for the month of January. And right now, we are at the end of Rehu, which is the other Sirius star. This is Sirius B. So that's what the thumbnail was whenever you clicked in here. That's Sirius B. And that is the Dolphin Stargate. So what happens with the Lemurian energy is that we have photons coming from the central sun. That is the undistorted light. When it hits planet Earth, what happens is we have 2D entities that have placed filter distortions all around the planet. And so as the light comes through, it's going to come through a stargate. And each month it changes, unless it's one of the Matea days. If it's one of the Matea days, so the 29th, 30th, or 31st, that will be pure undistorted light bathing all of the Earth. But otherwise, it's going to come through a specific stargate each month. And this month's stargate is the Dolphin Stargate, and that is Sirius B. And so it's called Rehu. West feels easterly. Oh, you might actually, this timeline, I don't know about you, but my timelines have been slipping. I can put a video on, and I will watch like 10 minutes of a video, and then it will do another 10 minutes of the same thing that I just watched, and then it goes again. I haven't seen the whale thing. I will look at that whenever it finishes, though, when we've finished here. How falling apart. The main thing with the 2D filters is that as it comes in, Malin, I'm going to grab this. I'd imagine that's your horse's name, so let me just grab this right quick. But what's going to happen is, as the photons come in, that will be helping to clean and dissipate more and more of those filters that are in place. But really what we've been doing a lot of over the last few weeks has been doing not just the undoing, which is the collapsing of those 2D filters, but I have been getting a hold of people, and we've been doing an alchemy, horses included, because my horse was actually the first. My horse is not my horse; he's an energy horse. But anyways, Neither here nor there. What's happened is we are going from the first dimension and we're alchemizing all the way through. At first, the dolphins told me to stop everybody at the sixth dimension, but lately people have been gathering their strength and cleaning and clearing, and we've been able to push all the way up into the 10th dimension, which is where I tend to see a lot of my light beings, orbs. You'll see colored lights and everything, and we'll probably go ahead and do one here in a little bit. Right quick, I wanted to, since I do energy healing, I'm going to go ahead and grab a hold of, I think this is your horse, hopefully it's your horse, Via. And so I'm going to reach out and I'm just going to move some energy around. I'm hearing actually that I'm going to be just moving on the conception vessel and the governing vessel, so the spinal processes on Via, okay? So we're just going to move things. Annie Bear, you've got it wrong, honey. Mother doesn't need it. You need it. Humans need it. This is for everybody's spines right now. We're just going to go ahead and clean and clear. It's called governing vessel, runs down the spine from the base of the skull through the tail. And then the conception vessel will run from under the tail all the way up the midline of the tummy to where the two collarbones meet. Work just a little around the head energy here. Just some fast energy balancing for meridians here. Okay, we're going to do some ting points where we're grounding it into Mother Earth as well. This is just meridian clearing. Well, not just. When you balance your meridians, meridians are energies that run in and around our body. They're rivers of energy. They do run in a specific flow pattern. And so if they get clogged or congested, sometimes they can actually get displaced. And that does lead to trouble reflected in the body itself. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg thing. Sometimes you can have an injury in the body that sets up congestion on a meridian, or sometimes the congestion on the meridian will cause trouble with the body itself. Okay, there go the front feet. Working on the ting points for the hind feet for your horse. Most of them just sitting here waiting. The energy will move when it moves. I feel like I should do one of those little clock things that they do for the TV shows. Was it dun 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 dun? There it goes. Okay, cool. Beautiful. Okay, great. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to pop that off. Ah, clarity. Be careful with your word choices. Yeah, perfect. The clearer that I became, is neutral. Exactly. And that's beautiful, because I would rather you go into neutrality than clarity. Sometimes whenever we ask for things, we end up doing the opposite. We end up with, like, instead of whenever we ask for clarity, we end up with foggy situations, and then you can't think your way out of a paper bag. So how can I alchemize? Annie Bear, we're going to go ahead and do some alchemization here in just a few seconds. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start us off with a bubble technique. And what you can do is the last 2 or 3 shows that I have had. So last week, Tuesday, I believe it was the week before that, but you'll see I've gone through and I've timestamped the ones that have done this. And you'll see timestamps for the alchemization. And so you can replay that. The important thing on that, right, and the reason why, I'll speak to this just a second. The reason that humans need to alchemize is because we've been manipulated. Mother Earth never was. She knows exactly what she's doing. And she knows exactly who she is. It's humans that have been enslaved by 2D entities. And the reason why is because With the 2D entities, they are parasites that have to eat off of our energy system. That's why those filters are in place. That's why our light is distorted, because they have to eat off of us. They can't utilize that direct energy itself. So, okay. I'm confused nowadays. People are saying that we're not supposed to heal others, only heal ourselves. But I do want to help my mother and my fathers, and they won't listen. Yes. And the reason why, Utica, is because what we're doing here is it does help your body and your soul to expand into your body, but really each one of us has our own spark of divinity. And so as such, we need to allow other people to have their choices with what they're doing. And we're not here to fix, save, or solve anything. When I'm cleaning the energy off of the meridians, I'm simply opening up the channels and the flow. I'm simply moving off congested energy from those meridians. What happens is, by doing that, opening up the meridian flow, it allows more of themselves, more of their own energy to expand into their body. And that's exactly what happens whenever we do a bubble technique, which I have to say, I'm hoping by now everybody here knows what the bubble technique is. That's where I ask you to bring in the light from above and below to wash over you, and then you set a colored bubble around yourself of energy. And if you're an empathic person, you're going to set 2 or 3 bubbles all the way around yourself. The reason why is because that allows you to be all by yourself in that bubble of light, where it is just you and source energy, whatever you want to call it, God, source, undistorted light. Everybody's got a name for it, but we all know what it is. But what happens is, a lot of times down here, because we've been so driven in this 3D world, we've got all of these filters in place that we can't see. And sometimes just by being in our own space, our own bubble, you're going to find, especially if you're an empathic person, you're going to find some of the stuff that affects you is not yours. So you cannot fix, save, or solve it. Now, I hear you, but what happens is, the more balanced that you can be in space, the more that you can be at ease and be up in your energy, because we're aiming for 5-dimensional or higher energy. When you can hold that in our 3D world, you emanate that higher frequency out there. That's automatically going to help with collapsing those 2D distorted filters. And you will be automatically emanating, but it will be from the overflow. You have got to fill your cup first and foremost. And yeah, Sandra's right. I see this up here. Yeah, remember to call on your angels as well, because they cannot, because we have free will down here, they can't help us unless we ask for help. So we have to remember that we do need to ask. Exactly. And we are all on our own journey, and it is free will for sure. So I get it. Yeah. And our parents won't listen. That's because in their minds, they still think of us as this itty bitty kid. So most of the time it's very difficult for them to interact with us as an adult, because in their minds, they always still think of you as that little kid, and they probably always will. And yeah, just like this, some of the things, we have to be able to step into it alone. It is our own journey. Yeah. Okay. Utica, yeah, we're going to be doing it in just a few seconds. What you have got to do before you do Reiki or anything else, and I'm only pointing this out because this is an amateur, and myself included. You'll see this with amateur healers. If you feel drained, then you for sure need to do the bubble technique first, because what you're going to be doing with any kind of Reiki or healing or meridian balancing, anything like that, you've got to do the bubble technique where your energy is coming from the universe first. And then you're offering that energy in a specific modality to them. You don't want to use, if you feel, let me back this up. If you feel exhausted or drained when you're working on the people or afterwards, you've done it backwards. You're giving your personal energy, which you shouldn't do. If you're lucky and you feel exhausted, a lot of times what happens is it takes about 2 days, maybe 3 days to reestablish your own personal. And so what you need to do is you need to actually have your flow open first. You've got to have it open first. Okay, so you always feel drained around your parents. Utica, there's a very good possibility that you just simply, I'm going to say that you're highly, highly empathic. And so what's happening with this is you're going to need to put at least 3 bubbles around you. Do it just as soon as you wake up, do the bubble technique. And you'll definitely want to do your diamond white light protection as well. And then just throughout the day, keep remembering to, you can even set a timer to it. I'm hearing set a timer. You can once an hour, go in, double check and see how your bubble is. Okay. And since I'm talking about it, I don't know if anybody is lurking here that hasn't done it, but let's just go ahead and do a quick bubble technique, and then we'll do some alchemization today. Okay. Since this has been a kick that has been happening lately. Because I gotta say, for myself, you can't fix it or solve it. What you have to do is you have to go into a different frequency. That's when it disappears, is because you're in a different frequency. Hey, Paul, perfect timing, fella. We're about to do a bubble technique, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some alchemization. I know, Utica, you are the cacao. That is true. Oh, remind me afterwards, Utica, I did look up, what was his first name? The Kumara fellow. I did look him up, and he has to do, actually, I'll just tell you that right now so that we can get focused on the other one. Sunat Kamara, the skimming that I did on him, he was connected to Shambhala. So that is Shangri-La, and that is located in Mongolia. And so that is connected to Lemuria 3. That is the iteration when Lemuria 3 was in the Mongolia, India area. Okay? Yeah. So that is Lemurian. Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, great. So let's do the bubble technique right quick. And then I'll walk you through the alchemy afterwards. But let's start off with the bubble technique. This is what everybody does need to be doing for a basic fast alignment to where it is just you and source energy. And especially if you're empathic, I need you to go ahead and place all of this around you so that you keep yourself more clean and clear. Yes, that's right. Lemuria 3 was Mongolia, India. Mm-hmm. That's where the focus was. So you're looking at things like, and that's just it. That's probably why Utica was asking questions about that. Right now, we're picking up things from different echoes, different past, and what we're doing is we're remembering Lemuria. It's different iterations. If I remember right, Lemuria 1 was in Kemet, which is Egypt. Lemuria 2, Tara. So that is Ireland, the Avalon Mysteries. So Merlinian codes, Cornwall, Devon, Stonehenge. Those are all Lemuria 2. Lemuria 3 moves over to India with Mongolia, Shangri-La. That's Lemuria 3. Lemuria 4 was whenever we had, unfortunately, Atlanta versus Lemuria. Lemuria itself was located in the Pacific Rim. So it was a massive continent in the Pacific Ocean. And Atlanta, I can't even say it anymore. Atlantis was located where the Gulf of Mexico is now. Okay, guys, I've evolved so badly. Okay, by hypnicity. Okay, so for everybody else that's still here, yeah. Oh, Luna Flash says America was Lemuria 1. Well, in that case, go with that. I thought it was Kemet, but he's the one that's studied since he was 7. I've only been studying for like 3 years. Wawa. Oh, Wawa. We'll do this right quick here. Wa is we're going to do this, break this down right quick here. Wa is first love in Lemurian. And so just like what she's saying here, Wawa is going to be much love. Sometimes you'll hear me say Wawa, and that's what that is. And sometimes you'll hear Wa, Wa, Nui. And that means much love for everyone. That way you're all in on it. Oh, sure. Utica, my name is Hunakamaroha. And it has two different meanings to it. The first is she who channels light in the darkness. Because I'm a fellow wombat, which is Kopunui. And wombats do that. They channel light. They do a lot of digging, and that brings the water into certain places. And so the other iteration of it is she who channels light on the exhale. And that code isn't just for me. There's a reason that I post that out there, because see, each one of you, you have Huna codes too. You have Huna essences right now. It's just when we were birthed here, we have filters that are put in place over our names. And that's what the seal ceremony is, that Huna Flash. It's not that he's giving you something. He is taking your Huna essence, and she who channels light on the exhale, that's right. And what he's doing is he's peeling back the layers and the filters off of it to reveal your Huna essence. Beautiful. Cool. That's gorgeous, Paul. Yeah, I know. There have been a lot of fairy essences right now. Solsha was one of the ones. I Shine from Old Irish, Gaelic. And then the other one was Finchin, which means I shine like the sun. Yay! Okay, gang. Well, I'm going to calm down so I can actually demonstrate a bubble technique. If somebody needs to use this in the future, a lot of my videos, a lot of my live chats will have the bubble technique underneath it. And then what I'm going to do is I do feel like I need to do a clearing and alchemization, and that's going to be a separate setup. So let's do the bubble technique first. And so we're going to start off by just looking up at a point on the ceiling, or you can look at your third eye chakra, which is just a point in between your eyes, just above it's right here, which I'm sure everybody knows. But just look up with your eyes, and then just gently close your eyelids. Perfect. Deep breath in, and then out. We're going to calm down just a little bit. And we're going to imagine a light coming from above. Let it be whatever color it wants to be. Sometimes the light will change colors. Let it bathe through the top of your head, through your forehead, your eyes, your nose, your face, all around your throat, your ears, bathing all the way down the back of your neck, into the tops of your shoulders, through the tops of your shoulders and into your chest space. So turn up the volume just a little bit here. Perfect. We're going to feel it cascade down through the tops of your arms, through your elbows, forearms, wrists, through your hands, and out into Mother Earth. On your back, feel it cascading down your back, through your tummy. Turn up the volume just a little bit here. A lot of times we have stored energies, emotions trapped in our tummy area. Good. Power through, just like a fire hose. We're going to use that light. Good. All the way down towards Mother Earth. Power washing through the hips, the thighs, your knees, calves, shins. Good. Ankles, feet into Mother Earth. Now, Mother Earth is going to offer you up a different colored light. You can feel this fizzing up from underneath. Let it be whatever color it wants to be. Her gift is coming up through your feet. Keep the light going from above. Have this other light come in through your feet, up through your ankles, beautiful calves, knees, thighs, hips, through your tummy, up through the diaphragm. And we're going to have both lights meeting in your heart space to form a bubble. Beautiful. Now take this bubble and make it much bigger. Put it all the way around your body, just like you can step into this bubble. And you'll feel the size that you want. It could be 3 feet, 10 feet, I hear 9 feet, 12 feet, 25 feet. Sure, you can put your bubble out that big. Nice. A lot of you are a lot calmer already. And that's what I mean. This is the energy that you're going to use if you do Reiki or any of the remote healing that you're going to offer to somebody else. But most important, you need to do this as soon as you wake up. Any time throughout your day that you feel pulled off your center of balance or you feel other people's energy bothering you, redo this really quick and then expand your bubble out even larger. And then you can put another layer, a different color around the original bubble. As I said, the main thing is most of the empathic people, some of the stuff that you are doing, you're picking up on other people's stuff. And by doing this bubble technique, what that does is that creates like a shield around you. And you can set the intent that only energy for your highest good comes into this bubble. Okay? Great. Okay, now while we are already here, we're going to go ahead and do the alchemization. What I need you to do is imagine yourself in Mother Earth. You could just imagine yourself under your favorite tree in an alpine meadow, walking along the beach. Great. Give me just a second here. I need to set up my own energy. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running activations. That's what each of these alchemies are. And what this does is this is going to be helping you to shed off the lower frequency entities, because they have been attached and parasiting on us. And by raising our frequency and lifting our vibrations up and out, it can't follow. Okay? Okay. I'm going to start with the first one. Alchemy of the first dimension. Alchemy of the second dimension. Alchemy of the third dimension. Alchemy of the fourth dimension. Dualities, heaven and earth, or heaven and hell scenarios, them versus me. Whatever side, pick a side. That just dissolved. We're in the fifth dimension. At any point, if you need, ground yourself into Mother Earth and you can ask for it to slow down. But I'm going to go ahead and continue up through the alchemies, because beyond that, we do have some other filters in place. So we're going to go Alchemy of the fifth dimension. Alchemy of the sixth dimension. Alchemy of the seventh dimension. Alchemy of the eighth dimension. Alchemy of the ninth dimension. Alchemy of the 10th dimension. I'm hearing we're going to go all the way up to 12 today. Alchemy of the 11th dimension. Beautiful. And alchemy of the 12th dimension. Sacred geometries. Inner prisms. Skipping a Maui. Beautiful. Okay, ground into Mother Earth when you're ready. And gradually come back into your body. And we're going to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and then smile, laugh, wiggle your nose, come back into your body. Let it go, let it go. The nice thing about it is these alchemizations will continue to run and will continue to be ever expanding. At any point that you feel if you're being attacked or you feel like something is trying to parasite off of you, you can come back to any one of these and, like I said, run through the time stamping. Today, I heard that we should go up to the 12th dimension for the alchemizations today. And it could be that just they simply wanted us to get much, much higher up in our frequencies today. So what do you think? Everybody's circling way out there. Beautiful, Paul. And you're going to find with these alchemies, you're going to be a lot less moody, a lot less irritable. You'll feel more in your power in yourself. Between the bubble technique and doing these alchemies, what we're doing is we are popping off parasites, basically. That's part of why the 2D entities are not a fan of this. Because right now we're practicing learning how to stand on our own 2 feet. We have just come from a time era when it was one man or woman at the top of the totem pole and everybody else underneath. And we're moving into a time era where it's built more like a dolphin pod, where everybody is more equal. And while that community watches out for themselves and they look out for one another, there is a lot more standing in your own power. And that takes practice. And some of that practice begins with the awareness. You're so welcome. But it begins with the awareness of knowing when you've been triggered. When you've been triggered, it's not actually real. You've been tapped like that because what's happened is a 2D entity needs to feed off of your energy. And so they cause this distress in order to feed off of that energy. I'll give you a hint. Laughter happiness, hugging one another, loving one another. 2D entities can't feed off of that. That's why they create things like war. That's why they're creating things like the division. Sending you much, much peace, Utica. We have been thrashing around here for a month, and I get it. And so, Utica, I would actually recommend that you play this at least once a day. And the nice thing about it is the mechanics that I just used, these are quantum mechanics. And what that means is you can play this on a very low volume, and it will still have the impact that you need without having to worry about offending somebody else. It doesn't have to be played loud. Perfect, Annie Bear. Yeah, I only watch comedies. See, that's perfect because the laughter is one of the fastest ways to raise up your frequencies. Which is ah, how wonderful. Yay. Yep, absolutely. Oh, beautiful. This too. The Hertz music's perfect. That's great. That's great. Wonderful. And yeah, see, if it's not election day, and that's what I was trying to warn people, if it's not election day, they don't care. They will pick whatever side against one another. Like I said, they're just going to go from politics to whatever sports game, just to divide people. Because what they're wanting is they're wanting that agitation because they have to do that to a human in order to feed off of our energy. They're literally a parasite. So by going up through the alchemies, then that helps us to lift up and out of the frequency. So they can't follow. They can go into 4D technology, which is the heaven and hell scenario, which is one side versus another scenario, which is why we did the alchemization to go higher. Oh, sweetheart. I wish my legs didn't ache. Annie Bear, let me go ahead and send you some energy for that. So if anybody's got achy legs, you can just make the intent that you hop onto this frequency as well, or this energy that I'm going to put out right now. Actually, I'm going to start on your mid back, Annie Bear, because that's where it feels like it needs to start. It's kind of like where the rib cage meets the back. And again, if you've got like a puppy or a horse or something, just imagine them hooking into the energy as well. You're welcome. You gotta watch out for them quiet ones, Paul. It feels like it's more on the right. There's a congestion on the right leg more than there is on the left, although both of them are affected. Just waiting for the energy to move here. I'm at the ankles right now. Beautiful. There goes the feet. Great. That was a good release. Follow the toes, follow the feet, toes, toes, toes. Ting, 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 ting. Huh. There we go. Okay, we're going to move the energy back up your legs. So I'm on your inner knees, ACLs, mid thigh, and then back up your tummy, up your midline. Beautiful. There we go. Here you go. Yay. right knee. My dad is 83 and constantly watches it. Mhm. It it is bad for him, but don't take it the wrong way. But he's addicted to it, especially at that age, and so a lot of times there's not very much that you can do about it, except to um, just like I said, play this on a very low volume around him, and it will help. I'll give you a good example. I did the alchemies the other day for somebody, and they tend to do junk food. They know that it's not healthy for them, but it's a comfort thing. And I didn't think too much of it. I ran the alchemization. I bumped into them the next day, and what they said was, "You're not going to believe this, but because usually they run to the stores in the evenings to get junk food." And at the same time, they said, because you did that alchemization, I didn't feel like I needed to go for my junk food. In fact, I ended up drinking a thing of water and eating a banana and going to bed. Whoa, that's amazing, because that demonstrates right there that there are a lot of manipulations. Utica, the main thing on this isn't that you are manipulating your father. It's like this: I can play for this without his consent. What I want you to do is to stay in your own lane. What you're going to be doing is, there is something in you that reacts to what he's doing, because he wouldn't be, or you would not really be attached to the outcome of what he's doing. You could care less, literally. And so what you need to do is go ahead and play it. Now you can certainly, he's probably going to think you're bonkers, but if you want, you can ask him. It's like, hey, can I play this for you? And he may go along with it and listen to it. Some of the things that you can see will be yawning, feeling lightheaded. But most of it, it does its own thing without really any impact whatsoever. You're very welcome, Melon. But what I need you to do is play it mostly for you. This is very similar to the Ho'oponopono technique, because as I said, it wouldn't be in your field if you don't actually have that in your own aura. And you're holding some of your energy in your field that is kind of bumping up and resisting against that. So yeah, you can absolutely keep playing that. And that will help you as you go forward. The nice thing too is, if you don't feel like playing it over and over and over and over, you don't have to. Because the actual activations, those alchemies, they're going to keep running for however long they need to. It may take days, weeks, months. So some of this stuff that's going to be happening will be very subtle. Some of it can be drastic. If you're finding that your world is changing drastically for the better and it's wigging you out a little bit, you can ask it to slow down. Sometimes it can radically change things and you end up needing to sleep a lot, which sometimes isn't practical. And again, you can just simply go, hey, guides and angels, I just did this optimization. Could you please slow that down? And they will. And it'll become a lot more subtle at that point. But like I said, the main thing on this is like this playing without the consent. There's a lot of times that I do my own energy work and everything, and I'm playing a lot of things in the background because I'm creating my own matrix. I am creating my own energy field. And so there's a lot of things that go out there into my quantum creations that other people don't know is out there. But at the same time, I happen to know that the 2D entities already have us walking around in a huge soup of dis-ease and unhappiness, moodiness, irritation, snapping each other. Basically, if you're not literally at peace and very loving and supportive of one another, there's a 2D entity that is causing manipulation somewhere. Some of it could just be that you're just not paying attention. Sometimes it can be that you need to pattern interrupt. And that is, if something has cheesed you off, take a deep breath, try to get yourself grounded. And by that, you can imagine your feet. Rosie's jazz. I probably felt good to her. But go ahead and imagine your feet rooted into Mother Earth, and then scan your body. It's like, where is this coming from? And if you need to, run through the alchemizations right quick, because it's very possible that you have one of the 2D entities attached to you. And the reason that I start off, you heard me start off with the first D entity, is because I discovered one that was a 1D entity that popped off of a horse and me at the same time. And it was attached to the spine underneath the skull. So it's shocking to me. But yeah, the more that we can get these things popped off left and right, the less control that they're going to have over our moods. And the more real us is going to come through. The really neat thing, yeah, I saw that earlier where somebody was mentioning this week with Hoon Flash. He was talking about the orange processes coming in. And obviously it flavors the political outlook and everything. But he was speaking to the energy of orange and reflects to the energy of the child, which is amber, and Tona is the stargate for June, which is the child's gate. And so a lot of the stuff that's coming through the child's gate, Tona, also speaks to the high heart, which is where we're aiming for. Everybody's talking about the divine rising feminine, which is part of the process, because we have been pulled so much into our heads, which is the male energy. We are shifting into our heart space, which is the divine feminine. But really what's going to happen is both of these energies are going to balance into Tama, the child, which is fun. That's wonderful. Yes, you are correct. That's what I was saying. I know earlier everybody's like, Lionsgate. And they kept quizzing me. It's like, why aren't you doing the Lionsgate? I said, because it's not my Lionsgate. And the same thing with, they're doing the 11/11 this month. And I'm like, well, technically it's a 5/11. But yeah, so we are building up to next month. We will be, and it's already, you can feel it. We're starting to build into the purging that will be happening in the Lions portal. And that will be January 8th is the Lemurian 8/8 portal. So that'll be the abundance portal. And that tips over into Kahu, which is the whales. And as he said, we will be watching it go off into another part of the cosmos, which is fun. Yeah, and some of the processes that he was talking about, those are for the Hunas to do. Those are different water processes that are done. Specific protocols. I know, right? I can feel the whale too. Yeah, I think it was last week. I had the vision of the it was just beautiful, huge purple cosmic whale came in, and there was plasma energy that the earth was bathed in. It's just gorgeous to see. That feels wonderful. And that's most of the reason why I've been doing these lives. Okay, well, I'm going to be winding this one down pretty soon. At this point, it looks like I will be next week. I'm not sure if I will be back on this week or not. I don't have anybody scheduled for this week. Next week, supposedly I'm on with Valerie at Illumination Portal. I did want to ask people, because for Thanksgiving in the United States, some people may not have people around them. And so I wondered if what I might do is I might do for an hour, I might hop on the 28th, which is Thanksgiving, just to have anybody hop in that might be without family. I understand by now some people, they don't have family. And so Thanksgiving can be wrapped in family reunion energy. And some people can be very alone, especially after what happened at the beginning of November. I will ask you, I know a lot of people have reached a point where, I gotta be honest, they were manipulated too much by the 2D entities, and so they've struck off part of their families or their friend circles because they just really got overexcited from the manipulations that happened. And so if you find yourself at a loose end, or if you just simply don't have family and you want to celebrate your Thanksgiving, like I said, I'm planning on trying to come on at least for an hour if I can for Thanksgiving itself. I didn't know if anybody was out there that wanted to shoot out a time, because I don't really have a specific time per se. But yeah, that was something that I was considering doing for next week, just in case. Did I put everybody to sleep again? I tend to do this a lot. Oh, speaking of putting people to sleep, this is really good for insomnia. But the other thing is, I've had people been kind of alarmed. A lot of times, being around my energy system, I do have a very high energy system, and also we do with the Lemurian Light Codes and everything. Just by you seeing the codes or hearing the codes, sometimes that can make you fall asleep. And the reason why is because it's actually activating your DNA, which is really cool. That's why I keep calling them Lemurian technologies. They are light codes, but it a lot of times it can put you to sleep. It's perfectly normal. Come back to it, re-listen to it. The more that you're around me, and the more that you hear these, the more that you're going to be integrating to your own body, and you'll be able to hang in there a lot longer. But it's activating your body. Oh, you're native. Wonderful. You have a small Thanksgiving. We have a very small Thanksgiving here too. I know most people do the traditional Thanksgiving, but since we live on the Oregon coast, usually our meals are catered around whatever is caught fresh from the ocean. And so a lot of times I'll have things like clam chowders or crab, fish, things like that. And you can go whole hog, or you can just whatever you want to eat. The most important thing is just the pause and the gratitude to be grateful. That's funny. Yay. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Aw. Oh, thank you, Paul. That's so sweet. I don't know what your sisters are going to make of me. That's funny. Yay. Okay, gang. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. For now, I don't think that I'm going to be hopping on later in the week, but I might. But at the moment, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to hop off of here, and I will, at the earliest, then I will see you next Tuesday. Supposedly, I have a show. Yeah, Dungeon of Crab is amazing, especially since it's like right here. It's so fresh. The ocean is. I missed it. But yeah, next Wednesday will be Valerie at Illumination Portal. Maybe. We hope so. And then yeah, I'm gonna try to aim for something for Thanksgiving, just because I'm feeling moved to, just in case. Anyways, okay, everybody, have a great week, and I will see you next week. If I don't see you sooner than that, I'm not planning, but you never know. Yay. Okay. Bye. Yeah, the dolphins shove me. Bye-bye.